2024 is shaping up to be one heck of a great year for new games on old systems, particularly Sega consoles. There is an entire force of developers, publishers, indie studios, and motivated fans creating new content at an impressive level. Should you have any interest at all in this type of thing, this episode is going to go over a number of those games and give you an idea of what to expect. I have chosen 9 new games that I haven't covered before, so sit back and enjoy the ride. Fragmented Almanac is a narrated point-and-click puzzle title that was released for the Dreamcast earlier this year. It's essentially 2 stories in one. The first is about a lost spirit trying to reunite with its body. The second, a space explorer trying to repair his ship on a mysterious planet. To say this one is an enigma would be a gross understatement. It's a series of interactions with characters, puzzles, and environments to progress the overall story. The visual style is simple but effective, and the music really lends a strong sense of mystery to everything. There's nothing really like it on the platform, and if you enjoy games that break the mold of traditional game development, I highly recommend you take a look at it. There is a digital version you can pick up for about $15, or you can spend the $30 on a physical disc. Hayatos Journey is a hack-and-slash platformer by the developer known as Master Lin Kuei. While it's not licensed by Sega, it's meant to be a direct sequel to the original Master System classic, Satan. This is a finished release and can be downloaded for whatever price you deem it worth, a spectacular gift to the Sega community. You'll immediately recognize many art assets from other Genesis titles, and it's all sewn together fantastically and looks outstanding. Parallax junkies will damn near be brought to orgasm here, and there wasn't a single background I was disappointed with. The gameplay has also seen a big upgrade over the original adventure, feeling like it's been injected with a healthy dose of the Revenge of Shinobi. I also enjoyed the soundtrack. Genesis FM is difficult to get a hold of and make it fit the narrative well, but what's here gets the job done and then some. If you enjoyed the Master System original, this one's a no-brainer. But even if you didn't, this one is well worth checking out. I'll drop a link in the description so you can check it out either on your favorite emulator or on real hardware. And please be sure to tip the developer and thank him for this incredible work. Real Bout Fatal Fury Genesis is, at this time, a loose port of the Neo Geo original Real Bout Fatal Fury Special. It doesn't have all the characters, it uses a single fighting lane as opposed to the 2 of the original, there are no time of day changes, the wall breaking is absent, and there are a few additional content changes and additions. These changes were to be expected because the arcade version was on a massive 394 megabit cartridge. So even the relatively large 40 megs of this release is still paltry in comparison. What is impressive is just how much the developer of this new Genesis version has packed into that 40 megs. The color, the sprite size, and the animation are all spectacular, and it blows away any similar retail product right out the water. Seriously, look at this new game beside the 40 megabit Super Street Fighter 2. The level of color, detail, and animation is really impressive here. Comparisons like these are always a tad dubious because of the constraints developers faced back then, but I think it's a hell of a proof of concept that Genesis games could be made to look worlds better when these constraints are removed or lessened. As much as the visuals caught my eye, it's the gameplay that deserves the lion's share of attention here. In my experience, fan-made projects often play different enough to make them feel janky or lesser than the originals. This is not the case of Real Bout Fatal Fury Genesis. This fan-made project plays excellent from the moment you try your first punch or kick. Everything lands with a satisfying blow, the jumps have the proper weight to them, and even the combo system feels like it's been professionally tuned. It's not one-to-one with the Neo Geo, but it's certainly on a level where there is little to complain about. There are 14 main cast members to choose from, which includes 2 bosses and a few more EX versions of the main cast to round things out. It's missing staples like Andy Bogard, which will hopefully see inclusion in the future. From what I can tell, the fighters that are here seem to have the vast majority of their moves and specials. I've only had a day or two with this so far, but I came away really impressed with what these folks have accomplished. Not only does it look great, but the gameplay feels exceptional, especially in the game's 2-player mode. This one isn't exactly a new game, but it is a new game for the Dreamcast. The classic first-person shooter Doom 64 is now running on the Dreamcast in all its 64-bit glory. It was originally released on the Nintendo 64 as an update to the original that included a new graphics engine, new stage and enemy designs, and an overall next-generation feeling. It was a potent example of how strong the Nintendo 64 was next to its console contemporaries, and still a nice-looking game today. The Dreamcast port isn't quite finished yet, but the creator, J.N. Martin 84, has made significant progress in its development. It's smooth and stable at this point, and I'm really looking forward to seeing a finished product. It currently runs on real hardware, but you'll need an ODE to play it on. Check my description for some links to help you get this work in progress up and running. MegaCat Studio ran an extremely successful Kickstarter for its new Genesis shoot-'em-up, ZPF. There is still a while before this one is available, but it's fully funded and then some. There are multiple ships to choose from, different endings, and additional secrets to uncover. Gameplay videos look fairly impressive, having a look and feel of some of the indie-developed Neo Geo releases. The Genesis shoot-'em-up community is a dedicated bunch, and they made sure to get this one funded, so it's sure to be something to look forward to. I'll drop a link down in the description to the MegaCat product page, where you should be able to get a copy once it's released. Kai Magazine Software is back with another Genesis release that looks heavily inspired by Snatcher, with a heavy dose of RPG elements mixed in for good measure. The story centers around a mysterious shadow group wreaking havoc on the city, leaving you and your team the only ones with the skill and weapons to stop them. Lots of cinematics are used to narrate this one, and your choices do matter. There are 3 playable characters, and each one can be imbued with various traits to make them good at healing, taking damage, or doling out the pain. Kai Magazine Software is aiming to get this shipped by early 2025, and you can currently pre-order various editions of the game on their website right now. The unique thing about this one is the fact that they have created a special audio chip that enables the Genesis to produce high-quality music and sound effects without the need for a Sega CD attachment. Even better, there is a full FM soundtrack in place if you prefer to go that route. This is shaping up to be one hell of an adventure and a pretty cool add-on to boot. I'll drop that link to the pre-orders down in the description. Publisher Two Minds has a new Game Gear narrative adventure out called The Sword of Stone. In this one, you explore around, talk to people, build up a team, and try and stop all-out war between multiple kingdoms. This has a very nice easygoing flow where the main objective is to sit back and enjoy the ride. While there is gameplay in the form of exploration and some light puzzle elements, the combat is part of the story and flows through cinematics that describe what is happening. Should you face an enemy that you can't defeat, the narrative simply tells you that and back to looking for what you need. It's quite colorful and very easy to get into, especially if you are a fan of the Phantasy Star text adventure games. This one has a demo out there I'll link you to, and I'll throw in the publisher's store so you can pick up a physical copy if it seems like something you want to own. Rocket Panda is another MegaCat Studios published Genesis game that had a successful Kickstarter and should be coming in the near future. Your job is to save Biscuit Land and rescue your badger buddies from a nefarious group of enemies led by the evil Biscuit Head. This one kinda reminds me of the old arcade classic New Zealand story, where you mainly must avoid enemies and traps as you move about the maze-like stages. The developers at Space Pants Games have worked hard to bring you lots of color on screen and some rather impressive sprite effects on the bosses. There is a demo available on the publisher's website I'll link you to, which is just a slice of the promised 60 plus levels the final game will have. Many of you may remember the Shinobi-inspired indie release Shadow Games that landed on the Dreamcast a few years back. It was released by JKM Corporation and was a fun throwback to the hardcore arcade releases back in the day. That success has spawned another, Shadow Games Zero. Instead of the super high-res look of the original, we now get something that looks like it was created way back in the early 90s. The developers have said that they are shooting for a more console-oriented experience this time around, so expect more variance in the difficulty and a larger game with more content. The demo you see running here is for the Neo Geo and runs on real hardware. There will also be Mega Drive, Dreamcast, PC, and modern console versions available. It retains the fast Shinobi-style gameplay, and the demo, though short, feels fantastic already. I love that the Neo Geo is being supported this time, but it's the Genesis edition I'm most looking forward to. The original Shinobi should have been on that platform, and this looks like it may be a great substitute. For those of you that do not own original hardware, this demo runs just fine on MAME, which will be available when the Kickstarter begins August 1st. The game itself is only about 10% done at this point, so be sure to support this project so we can get it finished. I've mentioned it a few times already, but you are going to want to check the description of this video for the various links that will tell you lots more about these games. Some of them have demos and some of them you can buy right now. The exciting thing is that it's just a taste of the mini projects that are in the works for older consoles. So if you enjoyed seeing these games, let me know in the comments and I'll cover more in the coming months. I'm Sega Lord X, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you next time.